Hello everyone, and welcome to Hopeful Moments 1. Today, we're going to share a story about betrayal and heartbreak, but also a journey of strength and moving forward in life. Today's story will take you through a series of unexpected events, from discovering an affair, to exposing the truth in the most shocking way, to experiencing family betrayal and witnessing how the main character courageously moves on. This is a dramatic journey from pain to maturity. If you find this story interesting and full of meaningful lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more valuable insights. I, 27F, met and got to know my boyfriend, Corbin, 27M, back in college. At that time, he and I were in different departments. I was pursuing neuroscience while he studied business. Even though we weren't in the same classes, thanks to a few mutual friends, we had the opportunity to meet and quickly developed feelings for each other. After spending some time getting to know him, I fell deeply in love with Corbin and believed he would be my lifelong companion. But not long after, I discovered a heartbreaking truth: Corbin had betrayed me, and the person he was having an affair with was none other than my own biological sister, Erica, 31F. One day, while I happened to be holding my sister's phone, I saw messages from Corbin filled with intimate, seductive content accompanied by explicit images exchanged between them. My heart tightened. I couldn't believe that the person I had once loved and trusted could betray me in such a painful way. Once I verified the truth, I decided I could no longer remain silent. And so, right at my sister's engagement party, when all our family and friends were present, I exposed the true colors of both Corbin and Erica by projecting a slideshow of their messages and explicit images as undeniable evidence. Every sweet word and every secretive act they had shared was laid bare before everyone's astonished eyes. The joyous atmosphere of the party was instantly shattered, and whispers and murmurs spread all around. Erica burst into uncontrollable tears, Corbin panicked, and I just stood there feeling a mix of pain and vindication as the truth finally came to light. Now, instead of simply condemning the two betrayers, my family turned around and demanded that I apologize to Erica for ruining her special night. They claimed that I had been too harsh by exposing her in front of everyone. But I see no reason to feel regret or to apologize. I wasn't in the wrong, and I have no obligation to silently endure this injustice. Therefore, I firmly refused my family's unreasonable demand, even though I knew it might further strain our relationship. I, 27F, met Corbin, 27M, when we were both college students. Although we studied in different fields, me in neuroscience and him in business, we often crossed paths on campus. Corbin was the type of person who naturally stood out, not only because of his attractive looks but also his confidence and outgoing nature. At first, I simply thought he was quite cute, a guy with a bright smile and sparkling eyes. Every time we happened to catch each other's gaze, we'd exchange a gentle smile, like a silent greeting, though nothing more ever happened. Everything truly changed when Leah, one of my closest friends, started dating someone from Corbin's close circle. Thanks to that, we had the opportunity to meet officially for the first time at Leah's birthday party. It was a small but cozy gathering where everyone chatted happily. When Corbin walked in, he immediately recognized me and came over to start a conversation. At first, I was a bit surprised. I hadn't expected him to be so proactive. But the more we talked, the more I realized that he wasn't just attractive, he also had a great sense of humor, was intelligent, and full of confidence. Our conversation lasted far longer than I had imagined, and we both seemed to lose track of time. In the days that followed, we began talking more frequently, from brief text messages to lengthy phone calls that lasted for hours. Corbin knew exactly how to make me laugh and feel comfortable by his side. After a few weeks of getting to know each other, he officially asked me to be his girlfriend. When I heard that, my heart nearly leapt out of my chest with happiness. I had secretly harbored feelings for him for a long time, though I never dared to hope too much. In that very moment when he expressed his feelings, I realized that I truly loved him with all my heart. Perhaps the first red flag, one I really should have paid more attention to, was the very first time I introduced Corbin to my family. At that point, we had been dating for about 6 months, and since everything seemed to be going well, I wanted to introduce him to my parents and my sister, Erica, 31F. The dinner went quite smoothly. Corbin was polite, engaging in cheerful conversations with my parents and displaying a warm, friendly attitude towards Erica. There was nothing unusual that would make me suspicious. I even felt relieved to see how easily he fit in with the family. However, on the way home, Corbin suddenly said something that made me pause. "You're so much like your sister that I could accidentally kiss her, thinking she was you." In that moment, I immediately sensed that something wasn't right. Even though he said it in what sounded like a joking tone, it still made me feel uncomfortable. I turned to look at him, waiting for an explanation, but Corbin only laughed it off as if it were just a harmless joke. I told myself maybe I was overthinking it, that perhaps he just said it carelessly without any deeper meaning. Even so, there was still a lingering discomfort in my heart, but in the end, I chose to let it go. After all, when you're in love, it's easy to find excuses to rationalize even the strangest behaviors, even dangerous red flags right before your eyes. After that, Corbin began repeatedly making inappropriate comments about Erica, which made me feel that something was truly off. His words, even if claimed to be just jokes, carried an unmistakable lack of respect for someone I held dear. At that moment, I tried to speak up, hoping he would understand the boundaries of his words and learn to respect my family and those around him. However, Corbin brushed off my concerns, assuring me that he loved me and that it was all just in good fun. Blinded by love, I believed him, comforting myself by thinking that maybe I was overreacting and that his words were nothing more than harmless jokes. As for Erica, my sister has always been someone trustworthy and beloved. Erica had maintained a stable relationship with her longtime boyfriend, Evan, 31F, for about 6 years. That enduring relationship made me never doubt her loyalty or intentions, since she had never shown any romantic interest in Corbin. That assurance only deepened my appreciation for our family bonds, a place where sincerity and honesty are always cherished. If you enjoyed this story and found its lessons meaningful, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more valuable lessons and insights. 2 weeks ago, during one of the few rare moments I managed to steal away between my endless shifts as a resident doctor, I had the opportunity to attend a family dinner at an upscale restaurant. It was a precious occasion when the whole family, from my parents to Erica, gathered together, chatted, and shared warm, heartfelt moments. I felt incredibly happy to see everyone again, because aside from my busy work schedule, these family reunions are an immense source of emotional strength and encouragement. What made the evening even more special was the exceptionally close bond Erica and I share. We confide in each other about every joy and sorrow, always serving as each other's safe haven. I love my sister dearly, and the memories we create together only deepen my appreciation for the value of kinship and the ties that bind our family. After our cozy dinner, as everyone began to leave their tables, Erica suddenly stood up and headed toward the restroom. As always, I, being the one who cares for and protects her, immediately followed and held her purse, a familiar and comforting gesture between us. In that moment, the atmosphere shifted abruptly into tension when Erica's phone started ringing continuously. I quickly glanced down and was startled to see that the call was coming from Corbin, the boyfriend I had trusted all this time. What puzzled me even more was that the phone was on silent mode, with no ringtone at all. Normally, Corbin and Erica shouldn't be in such frequent, intimate contact. Just a few seconds later, Corbin ended the call and sent a text message immediately. "Miss you like crazy. Call me back as soon as you can." With a winking emoji. Those words pierced my heart like a cold needle, plunging me into a state of deep shock. In that moment, I didn't even have time to check for more details because I saw Erica just emerging from the restroom. Overwhelmed by a torrent of emotions, I simply shoved the phone back into my pocket and tried to act as if nothing had happened. That night, as the dim streetlights filtered softly through my window on the quiet way home, I returned in a state of utter emptiness. The pain of betrayal and the sting of those hurtful words kept flooding in, and I ended up crying until dawn. Even though I knew that Corbin, the person I once trusted, had been constantly urging me to move in with him, adding even more pressure to an already fragile relationship, none of that could justify the contemptuous messages he sent to the sister I loved dearly. Just last week, Corbin and I visited Erica and Evan together. Before that visit, I was determined to get to the bottom of the truth, for deep down I had a nagging feeling that things weren't as bright on the surface as they appeared. During a warm family dinner, as Erica had just entered the kitchen to fetch some wine, Evan unexpectedly announced to everyone that he was about to propose to Erica. His words echoed through the warm atmosphere of the gathering, shattering all the illusions in an instant. In that pivotal moment, the thought exposed everything flashed through my mind, a decision I resolved to carry out at Erica's engagement party. That resolve was born from the unbearable pain and the betrayed trust that I could no longer hide. After the dinner party ended, with my mind heavy and swirling with chaotic thoughts, I decided to bury myself in my work at the hospital, where every shift and every life saved demanded my absolute focus. It was my way of temporarily avoiding the overwhelming, shattering emotions that loomed over me. Even though I was internally in turmoil, I made every effort to maintain a normal appearance, showing no coldness to Corbin or anyone around, so that no one would suspect that something was terribly wrong. Then, on the night before the engagement party, while those relentless, swirling thoughts still lingered, I quietly gathered every piece of evidence of their betrayal. I compiled all the screenshots of their text messages into a slideshow and carefully saved it onto a USB like a dark treasure, undeniable evidence of the truth I was finally ready to face. And then, yesterday, the day when everything reached its climax. The engagement party took place in a joyful, warm atmosphere, with Erica completely caught off guard by Evan's promise. She had no idea that behind the seemingly happy family and friends gathering lay a huge, hidden surprise. Toward the end of the event, amid everyone's excitement, Evan knelt down to propose to Erica. At that moment, a whirlwind of conflicting emotions surged within me. For a brief second, I almost wanted to abandon my plan, because Evan, who has always cared for me like an older brother, a loyal companion, is a good person who deserves to be happy. But then, I realized that he also deserves to know the truth about the lies and acts of betrayal that have caused all this turmoil. Immediately after the crowd sank into the joy of the engagement celebration, I stood up and walked to the podium to speak. In a soft yet resolute voice, I began to talk about Erica, the sister whom I love unconditionally. I recounted the memories the two of us have shared, the times we laughed together and overcame difficulties side by side. My words touched Erica's heart. She burst into tears, her eyes welling up, and softly murmured, "I love you, sis," as an affirmation of the deep bond we have always shared. Next, I said a few words about Corbin, calling him a wonderful boyfriend, a compliment that perhaps no one else could have thought of, as a way to ease the tension of the party. But then, summoning all my courage, I announced that I had a special video I wanted to share with everyone. That moment was the turning point of the night, when all eyes turned toward me, eagerly waiting to see what would be revealed. No one could have imagined that in what seemed like a warm, emotion-filled moment at the party, the brutal truth would be exposed so glaringly on the big screen. The video, which everyone assumed would be a touching tribute, suddenly turned into a horrifying spectacle as explicit messages and sensitive images appeared, transforming the atmosphere into one of utter shock and silence. Erica, who had always been regarded as the ideal sister, immediately broke down in uncontrollable sobs, tears streaming down her face as if the pain and betrayal had struck her heart directly. Corbin, facing the scrutinizing stares of everyone, blushed bright red, an unmistakable sign of shame and fear that no amount of excuses could salvage the situation. Evan, his eyes filled with shock, stared unblinkingly at the screen, every passing second reflecting an indescribable mix of astonishment and sorrow. My parents, who had always hoped to see their daughter happy, now glared at me with furious, blazing anger, as if they had just witnessed an unendurable family tragedy. Yet, amidst all these intense reactions, I only managed a cold, wry smile, as if to say that no matter how painful these misdeeds are, they will never shake my resolve. Without hesitating, I decided to let the video keep playing, as a final declaration of the truth I had long awaited. As the screen continued to display undeniable images, I quietly left the party, carrying with me both the pain and my unyielding determination. Before I stepped out the door, I turned back, looked directly at Corbin and Erica, and in that decisive moment, I raised my middle finger boldly, without a hint of hesitation, and shouted, "F*******, you both." Some might call that a childish act, but to me, it was a genuine outcry against betrayal and deceit. It was my way of saying, I will no longer accept this. Immediately after those words, Corbin didn't hesitate to chase after me, pleading for another chance, insisting that it was just a bit of fun and that he had no serious intentions. But my heart, already deeply wounded after a terrible day at the hospital, sank further with each word. In a fit of anger and overwhelming despair, I turned around, raised my hand, and slapped him right across the face. The sound of that slap rang out like a declaration of my outrage, accompanied by a wild, almost hysterical scream that seemed to make time stand still. Even if it was only a feeling, it was enough to freeze the moment. After that emotional storm, tears continued to stream down my face, leaving undeniable marks of the deep pain within me. I hadn't planned to cry, but in that moment, all the sorrow and wounds in my heart became too much to contain, and I wished I hadn't let my tears fall in front of Corbin, the person I once loved and trusted. This extended version vividly portrays a climactic moment where every fragment of truth is laid bare before everyone, and my raw emotions are exposed for all to see. The reactions of those around me, from Erica's heart-wrenching sobs, Corbin's bashful, reddened face, to Evan's stunned, sorrowful gaze and my parents' blazing anger, together paint a multifaceted picture that highlights the cruelty of betrayal and the heavy price it exacts. The act of flipping the middle finger and the harsh expletives weren't merely outbursts of anger, they were a powerful declaration of my right to live authentically and to be free from fake relationships. The clash between Corbin's desperate pleas and my resounding slap further deepened the tragedy of the situation, showing that no matter how many justifications are offered, the truth remains unaltered, and the pain of betrayal can never be concealed. The message this passage conveys is, in life, when trust is betrayed, pain is inevitable. However, facing the truth, even if it is excruciating, is the only way to liberate oneself and begin the healing process. Although my actions may have seemed impulsive, they reflected a steadfast belief in the truth and my right to control my own emotions. Since yesterday, my phone has been bombarded with messages, each one a reminder and reproach of that shattered, tainted night. Everyone around me, especially my parents, has not hesitated to speak up and demand that I apologize to Erica, the one who, according to them, was deeply hurt by my actions that night. They believed that night was supposed to be special, a time for family and friends to enjoy happiness together, but now, it has been tarnished by unforeseen consequences. Erica, in her own way, sent hundreds of apologies, interspersed with adorable sad cat memes, a favorite of mine. Although Erica's apologies were tinged with sweetness and humor, they could not soothe the deep pain and betrayal I felt within. Not only that, but Corbin, the person I once trusted, did not remain silent either. He continuously texted me across every platform, trying to justify his actions. However, after some thought, I decided to block both Erica and Corbin. To me, the betrayal and those thoughtless words had crossed the line of forgiveness. I simply cannot, and do not want to, maintain any contact with them, at least for now. However, I couldn't bring myself to block my parents. No matter what changes, family is still family, the place I always turn to for shelter and love. I know that if I cut off contact with my parents, I would lose an important part of myself. Unfortunately, my parents have been so unyielding that they declared they wouldn't speak to me until I apologized to Erica, a condition I could never accept, because my self-respect and belief in the truth have been strengthened by everything that has happened. After the chaotic and emotional party, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages from all sides. From my family to Corbin, the boyfriend who betrayed my trust, everyone was expressing their opinions and demands through tense text messages. The flood of messages made me feel completely surrounded. Each message was a call for accountability and a demand I never expected. Without hesitation, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I immediately blocked Corbin and Erica. For me, that was the best way to temporarily cut off the sounds of betrayal so that I wouldn't have to continuously endure empty reproaches and baseless excuses. However, the one thing I could not and did not dare to do was block my parents, because family is family, despite the arguments and pressures that I have never wanted to sever. The next morning, after the storm of messages from the previous night, not only did my parents text me, but even my relatives kept appearing on my phone screen. They not only sent apologies but also proudly announced that they had completely severed ties with Erica, for one simple and obvious reason: they hate traitors. They acted as if they were the guardians of family honor, considering themselves the ones standing for righteousness and truth. Yet, I felt a deep irony, because among those texting, there was someone I knew had a rather questionable past. He had been divorced 3 times because of infidelity. That only made the phrase "hate traitors" all the more paradoxical, as if it were a mocking comment on how people often pride themselves on being moral while their own past tells a different story. That sense of irony, mixed with frustration and heartache, only underscored the divisions within my family, a place where relationships that were once so tightly bound are now being dragged into a fierce confrontation between values and past misdeeds. In that very moment, I realized that sometimes, the truth is revealed not only through clear evidence but also through inner conflicts and sarcastic, mocking remarks. Of course, there were also some fools who sided with Erica, justifying her betrayal by blaming Evan and saying that he never cared about her. It's truly laughable because Evan is one of the best partners I've ever known. They even cursed me for ruining my sister's engagement night and demanded that I apologize. I didn't even bother to reply to their messages. As for Evan, I apologized to him. After my shift, I brought some food to his house. When he opened the door, he looked quite angry to see me. At first, he didn't want to let me in, but I pleaded repeatedly until he finally relented. I told him I had brought dinner, but he just glared at me and pointed at his watch. It was 9 p.m. So, I just left the food in his fridge and told him to eat it later. Then he asked me why I had come over. We sat down, and I apologized profusely. I explained my perspective and admitted that I was being too selfish, not considering his feelings when I exposed everything that way. He said exactly what he thought, and I fully deserved to hear it, but in the end, he accepted my apology. After that, we talked a lot, comforted each other, and even cursed Erica and Corbin together. It turned out that from the very beginning, Evan had disliked Corbin because he found him too arrogant and entitled, something I hadn't realized because I was madly in love at the time. It was already quite late, so I ended up staying at his place that night. I even saw someone comment that I should sleep with Evan if I got the chance, but sorry to disappoint, he's like an older brother to me, and we will never see each other in that way. The next morning, we still kept in touch as friends. Regarding Erica, Evan said that he had kicked her out of his house because it is his home. Currently, she is living with my parents. I don't know if she can afford to rent a place on her own since she only works as a makeup artist, but my parents are rich, so they probably wouldn't hesitate to help their beloved daughter. A few days after they issued an ultimatum, I called them and said straight out that I'd rather eat my own excrement than apologize to Erica. So, I'm ready to cut off contact, and see, no contact, with them. They tried to manipulate and gaslight me into changing my mind, but I remain unwavering. Finally, I told them to fuck off and wished them a happy life living with my useless, debauched daughter. Right after the call, I even sent a picture of me flashing the middle finger, and they blocked me immediately. A few hours after my conversation with my parents, I received a call from an unknown number. As soon as I picked up, Erica started screaming like crazy. I have no idea which number she was calling from. She both cried and yelled, asking me how I could be so disrespectful to her. After a while, she began accusing me of being jealous, saying that because she's better than me in every way, I felt threatened and tried to ruin her engagement night. Not only that, she even claimed that it was my ex-boyfriend who initiated the affair, a ridiculous accusation since, according to their messages, it was Erica who flirted first. After she finally stopped crying, I simply replied, "You're nothing but a fucking family ruiner. I will never be jealous of someone like you." Then I hung up and blocked that number immediately. After I blocked him, there was no further contact, except for his friends trying to persuade me to talk to him again. I ended up blocking them all, so there's nothing more to say about Corbin, and I'm glad he hasn't even set foot in my house. 6 months have passed. Life is great. It's still stressful and busy, but better than ever. I still haven't been in contact with my family or my ex. It all feels like it happened ages ago, but in reality, it's only been 6 months. I haven't started dating anyone new yet, but I've been eyeing a new coworker. Evan and I still occasionally talk. Erica has shown up at the hospital where I work a few times, but my coworkers always step in to protect us by forcing her to leave or even calling security. Overall, I'm quite happy with my current life. This has been a journey from pain and betrayal to the maturity and freedom of the protagonist. Despite being deceived by her lover, betrayed by her sister, and abandoned by her family, she has continued to move forward with strength, refusing to let the past hold her back. In the end, she chose to cut ties with those who aren't worthy and focus on her own life. Don't hesitate to walk away from toxic relationships, whether it's with a lover, friends, or even family. If they don't respect you, leaving is the best choice. The truth may be painful, but it's necessary. Exposing traitors may hurt, but hiding the truth only makes things worse in the long run. Family isn't always right. Not everyone in your family will always support you, and sometimes cutting ties with them is the best way to protect yourself. Learn to let go and move on. The past cannot be changed, but the future is in your hands. Choose to live positively and move forward instead of letting resentment control your life. In the end, the protagonist didn't let betrayal destroy her, she turned it into the motivation to live better. That is her greatest victory. View everything that happened as a valuable lesson rather than an unhealable wound. Don't feel guilty for putting yourself first and cutting ties with those who aren't worthy. Betrayal may hurt, but it's also an opportunity to recognize who truly loves and respects you. Most importantly, keep living your best life, not to prove anything to anyone, but so that you can feel truly happy. Instead of clinging to pain, focus on positive things like your career, healthy relationships, and personal joy. Forgive not because others deserve it, but because you deserve a peaceful life free from the shadows of the past. Finally, never let anyone define your worth. You are strong, deserving of better things, and one day, you will look back and thank yourself for having the courage to move forward.